Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fringe Coverage. This podcast profiles the stories, swings, and stars of the LPGA Tour. And whether you're new to women's golf or a longtime fan, hopefully this podcast helps you develop your own rooting interests in women's professional golf. And we are way into December now. Christmas is right around the corner. Tom, we got some great feedback about the ideas that we gave for those golf enthusiasts out there looking to get their significant others, to get them good gifts, people asking us for gift ideas. But how you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, man. Looking forward to this episode. We finally get to talk about my favorite golfer.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What a tee up for me to have to respond to. So today we're going to do things a little bit different, folks. We've been focused pretty squarely on the LPGA and we'll continue to. But as your two co-hosts, we know that getting to know the personalities and backgrounds of the hosts is always helpful for our audience. And some of you know us well. Some of you only know us as the voices you're listening to right now. And we thought we would turn the lens inward, and instead of talking about Charlie Hull and Nelly Korda and Gino Titicun, we're going to talk about ourselves, and specifically, we're going to talk about our own player profiles. And don't worry, we're not going to talk the X's and O's and what our, how good of golfers we are. Candidly, we're just not that good at golfers. But golf has played a significant role in both of our lives, and today, Tom has nominated me to be the subject of the interview. So Tom's going to ask a bunch of questions. I have no idea where we're going with this. I'm quite nervous. Usually I play the straight man between the two of us, and Tom can throw some curveballs. So I'm ready. I don't know what's coming, but Tom, where you want to go, man?
No, I thought that was all very well said. Yeah, I think the fact that we talk about golf so much, it really has become such a bigger part of our lives, even our friendship, right? We would talk about, we would send each other clips here or there, but you and I don't really get a chance to talk about our own golf that much because we don't play golf together much. I mean, maybe 4 times a year or something like that.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen you swing a club in a very long time, and I was just kind of interested.
Me neither, man.
I wanted to see, where you were with the sport of golf. You obviously watch way more LPGA than you do play golf. So your number one thing in life, golf-wise, is the LPGA, which is great with this podcast. Fantastic. But I know how much you would actually enjoy playing golf, and I would love to know where your game is at right now.
Yeah, I think.
When was the last time you played? Let's start there.
When's the last time I played with you? That's probably a bad answer because it tells you how long ago it was. It's been a few months. Let's put it that way. I think the best way to sum up my current relationship with golf is if you asked me, my wife, my mom, like anyone who knows me intimately well, and probably you for that matter, if you asked any of them, what is Marc's favorite thing, they would all unequivocally say playing golf. And that would be absolutely right. I'm obsessed with golf. I think golf is amazing. Which is pretty funny to be obsessed and not play that much. We've talked a little bit about where we are in our respective personal and professional lives. I've got 2 young kids at home. Golf's an expensive sport, takes a lot of time. We also have full-time jobs. Believe it or not, folks, this is just a hobby for us. And I have always been okay with golf taking a back seat. I have big plans in my retirement years to beat up some golf courses all around town. But, a good year for me, you know this, you've helped me set goals the last few years. A really good year for me in the last 5 to 10 years would have been 10 rounds of golf. I seem to hover more around that 6 range here recently, especially with the kiddos. But that's kind of the current state. I couldn't tell you what. I think my baseline, if I'm not playing at all and you and I went out and played tomorrow, I would expect to shoot around 90. It would be, or probably a high side 93, low side 89. I don't think I'd get.
And what about a full course?
Oh, very funny. Very, very funny. That's where we're starting already, huh?
Well, I mean, so you're saying that you having not played since it was end of August.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So having not played since in about 4 months,
yeah,
you think you would go out and shoot bogey golf?
Yeah. I'm a very conservative player. So I think my style is one that doesn't have much volatility in the scores, which also means I don't go very low because I don't really, I'm just not an aggressive player either. I don't hit the ball very far. But I have relatively good club control, so my misses aren't horrible. I'm always good for. I don't know that I'm good for a topping a ball anymore, but I'm still good for a random flare slice, something horrible that I'm going to need you to come with me to find my golf ball. I think it's well documented already. I'm pretty afraid of my driver. I can get a little quick with it, so much so that I have a sloth head cover on my driver to remind me to swing slow. Yes, that is a real thing. It has not worked, by the way. But I also have really nice new clubs that I got fit into. What was that, last year, Tom, or 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think 2 years ago.
And, I think over those 2 years, they've been used 7 times, 8 times, something like that since I got fit into them. So I will play more golf as the girls get older. But right now it's something that I don't have. I'm okay knowing that I don't know when my next round is.
So you did mention your sloth head cover, and that was on my docket. So one of the things that I want to talk about is what goes on in your head during a round of golf. And that's a great place to start because most of the time when you play a round of golf on a 72, you're driving a golf cart, right?
Yep.
So you're telling me that you are taking your club out of the bag, you are pulling off your sloth head cover and saying, all right, Mark, remember, keep it slow. Is that happening every time?
I think that's what I imagined when I bought the sloth head cover. I don't know that it's happened once.
I mean, same with the exercise bike in my room. I figured, I'm going to walk by it every day, and I'm going to use it every time I look at it.
Well, because what ends up happening is, again, you mentioned a golf cart. When we are using a golf cart, I'm a quick player. I don't like playing. I don't like having people behind me. The only reason I'm slow is if I'm playing bad. And so I'm very quick to the next tee. And you kind of just walk to the back of your cart, rip off the head cover, throw it in the back basket, and you walk up. And already I've rushed through the part that is quite literally the piece that I need to not rush through. So I've already lost that swing thought. But I'm sure you're going to ask some more questions here about what I'm thinking on a golf course or whether over every shot. But while we're talking about driver, the answer to your question is what I'm thinking about is way too much. I know way more about golf. The amount of knowledge I have about the sport of golf and how good players play golf far exceeds my own abilities, and it hurts me. So I have way too many things that I'm trying to accomplish, and this is a tale as old as time of every golfer. Of you got 6 different things you're trying to accomplish. Like, okay, make sure you're slow in your backswing. Make sure your hands are here. Make sure you keep your chest over the ball. Don't move too much because I get my front leg gets a little wonky. So there's just a lot already, and I've never been good, whether it's golf or otherwise, clearing my head of things. So usually the first hole is the one where I have the least amount of jitters, especially coming back after a long break, because I have no expectation. I don't remember what the swing thoughts were the last time I played. And as you know, usually the only thought I have on the first tee is my front hip going to pop? Because I usually literally have bones popping on the first tee. But after that, I start getting in my own head of I remember how to do this. And then you start trying to refine something that needs a teacher, not a self-diagnosis.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to that point where you're standing over the tee box and you go, okay, I'm going to aim to the left of the green because all my shots have been going right today.
Yeah.
You're done.
You're toast.
Yeah, exactly.
Double cross coming for sure.
One of the things that you did mention was that you are very concerned about pace of play.
Very.
And anybody who's played golf with you can attest. You are always mindful of your group and the group behind us.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
And ahead of us, for that matter.
So if you have a group playing behind you and they are quick, this rushes you, I assume.
Absolutely. There is no reason for anyone to ever be on me.
Okay.
They're not doing anything wrong. I don't care if someone's birdieing every hole. They space tee times well enough that my group that's worse than them should still be on pace. That's why they stagger those things. And look, there's some extenuating circumstances if you're looking for balls and things like that. But yeah, I get really rushed really fast, and I'll sacrifice shots because of it.
Sacrifice, you mean you just go, oh well, I have a 7-iron in my hand. I probably should go get a
Fuck
six,
it.
but I
Yeah,
don't care. Let's just
that's
go.
exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, do you also, you said you also worry about the group in front of you. So if you're playing
Yeah.
too slow, even though there's nobody rushed, you think to yourself, I can't see the group in front of me anymore. I need to pick up my pace.
Yeah, for a common rule of thumb, I don't want anyone being more than a hole ahead of me. If they're a hole and a half, you're having an issue, right? Like, think about where you teed off on the first hole and they're just clearing the green and you're going. If it's a par three or if it's a par four, obviously they're up on the green when you're teeing off, having just finished their approaches. I try to maintain that. And if it gets egregious and all of a sudden, like, I can't see them and I can see most of the course around us or the surrounding holes around us, that one I'll probably keep to myself instead of telling my playing partners, because like I know I sound like the police to my own playing partners when I say, hey, guys, we're running slow, and no one likes to be told they're playing slow, like especially slow players. And I've been told it a bunch of times and I've been like, I'm not playing slow. Like, I know I'm not. It's like, well, I don't know that you actually have ever brought out a clock and watched yourself. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm a slower player than I think I am. I just know I'm really fast between shots.
So that's interesting because I would really like to unpack that at some point. You worrying about the people who are even in front of you, because that shouldn't really affect you. If you're worried about rushing to catch up to somebody who could be a scratch
No.
golfer for all you know.
Again, the quality of the golf should not provide that big of a difference in your gapping. So even more so, if someone is getting further and further ahead, that's even more of a tell to me that we're playing slow, because that is in my ideal world, I never look backwards. But if I'm looking forwards, you always see that group ahead. And if you don't, it's an easy question mark of like, oh man, they must be really playing well. Or maybe if you have the ability to be somewhat introspective and say, maybe because I've gone triple, triple, double, and I spent 5 minutes looking for that ball in the crap, it might be me as well. That's usually my initial indicator. And then I'll look back to see if someone's on my butt.
So now we're talking about a skill thing, right? I'm not talking about pace
Maybe.
of play based on just being lax on the course. If you're moving at a decent pace and you're just not making the shots, I have no real issue with that, because you're never going to get better unless you actually go and put in the work, put in the time.
Sure.
But if you're looking for your club, you can't decide, you talk to your partner about something and you're just having a good time and popping a beer or anything like that, that would get to me. But
Yeah.
if it's something where you just keep tripling it or something like that, or you're making bad shots, I think at that point you could probably just slow down a little bit and survey what's going on and maybe take your time a little bit more.
Well,
Not that I've ever experienced that with you,
You
really.
were sure. Well, and save the really bad miss, the out of bounds, the search for the ball, which can, that creates log jams at the PGA and LPGA levels potentially. Most of yours and my really bad blow up holes involve a lot of shots around the green, right? Whether it's 3 putts or bad chips or multiple chips, depending on if I duff one or scull it across the green and have to do that not so fun march across. Here's the thing about that. That is not a long walk. It's not like the walk from 150 yards out to get to the green, line up your putt. You're just walking 20 paces and doing it again. So again, even when we're doing a lot of strokes and it's turning into doubles and triples or worse, it shouldn't be adding that much time unless you're like crouching down, remarking it. Like, you know what I mean? And again, I don't take my golf game that seriously to start doing serious alignment stuff when it comes to putting. But I do think I'm slow on my trigger standing over the ball, whereas you don't even practice swing, and we'll get into it on your player profile when we ask you those questions. But like, I'll do a practice swing, but I also know like I kind of have a couple mannerisms or things that I do that you would even be able to ticks. Yeah, exactly. That you could identify like, oh, he kind of like hinges his wrist or he does something like to kind of set his grip. Like I do have some things that I wouldn't be surprised if someone looks at it and says, man, he kind of looks like he's a head case over the ball. Wouldn't surprise me.
If this were a video podcast, I would stand up and actually show you all the ticks that you do, because there are a lot of them. They're fun to watch. Another question for you. I want to know which shots you dread the most, and also which shots you feel most comfortable with.
Okay. I really dread the driver. The driver in an ideal, like you're only hitting maybe 14 times around. If I'm going to pull it every time, which I'm not always pulling it because I will get nervous. I'm in a narrow fairway. It's a different swing. A driver swing should be and is a different swing. And all my irons, I have a similar move. And my scatter plot of my iron misses is very predictable. Like I'll usually flare it to the right, usually short, not like a banana slice or something. It's just that's where my miss is. I do not know my miss with my driver, and that scares me, and that's why I say I dread that club the most. I could pop fly to the shortstop that thing, even whether I've teed it high or low. I could really wicked slice it right. I can double cross it left. I don't normally like top it or hit worm burners, but or I can hit a really nice 275-yard drive that probably doesn't get much roll. I don't know much about spin rates or whether I'm in the right club or using the right ball, but we're so far from all of that. Like I don't have good swing feels over it, and I feel like that's where I think the most over. I can blank my mind pretty well over putts, chips, and irons. Driver, not so much. So that would be the dread. I think you would probably agree with that, just watching me and think about how many times you'll pull driver and I'll be like, what are you doing, man? Like, you scare me when you pull driver. You're not even pulling my club.
There was a point where you and I decided we played a round of golf, and we dubbed this round of golf smart golf. And we said,
Yeah.
the hole is 380 yards out, and sure, we can pull driver and try to hit a 300-yard drive and leave ourselves with an 80-yard chip, or you could do a 200-yard 5-iron and then leave yourself 180 in, and maybe change and think about where you want your second shot to be.
Yeah, I think more realistically speaking, we're talking about like a 310-yard par 4, and you saying, should I pull driver and try to drive green and bring danger into play versus, hey, if you like, what wedge distance do you want in and work backwards from there? Yes. I don't think we were leaving ourselves super long par 4 approaches, but yeah, when your end result is going to be potentially just a short chip shot from around the green versus at most 100 yards out, that's where I started trying to see how that would impact the way we played a round of golf.
And from what I remember, we actually shot pretty well that day.
We did.
Because we gave it a little more thought, not just like grip it and rip it, bring out the driver and see how far we can get the ball away from us. But
like any other round, we also found out quickly, I'm not hitting that club well today. So if I want 100 yards out and all of a sudden I'm not hitting my wedge as well, the whole plan goes out the window, because it does rely on still some execution on some club. And if you don't have it, like, you don't have it. And you and I play a lot of executive courses. I'm sure you and I are picturing the exact same holes right now as we're talking. There's a executive course in San Diego that Tom and I play that it's only got a couple par 4s, and one's got water on the left, and Tom pulls driver every time, and I go wide as a ghost every time he does it. But there's a really easy par 4 on the front nine that's maybe 300 yards, the second hole. That
230.
230? No.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're not even pulling driver. But I'm like, I don't even, again, we talked last episode, I got a big gap between 180 and 230 in my bag. And that 3-wood is squirrely. So I don't know if I really want to be pulling that on the second hole when all I've done so far is hit a flip 9-iron to a downhill green on the first hole.
So let's say we are playing a 72, and the first 3 holes we're looking at par 4s and 5s, and you're just spraying your driver like nothing good. When do you pull the trigger and make the switch? Or do you say, no, I want to finish out my round and use the driver on a par 5 or use it on a par 4 when I should be using it?
Yeah, I'm going to use driver all the way through, because I know, as much as I fear it, I would love to be able to learn to hit it well, and there's no way I'm going to learn to hit it well if I keep it in the bag with that sloth head cover on it, right? So the only time maybe I holster it is if a very specific par 4, back to the analogy you just gave, if it's a shorter par 4, maybe tightens up in an area, is like, I don't think the reward is here for me to hit another squirrely one because I'm 4 for 4 on blasting it right. I might holster it then, but otherwise, I'm just penalizing myself on distance. I mean, if there's one proven thing on any professional golf tour or any level of golf, is like distance helps. And if I'm already pulling myself back from that. But you and I, you will probably get to this in a second, playing for a score is a hard thing for us, right? You never like, all right, I'm going to commit to this. I want to shoot a really good score today. If I've hit 4 straight drives right and I've been playing out of a different fairway all day or bad rough, like that score is probably already outside the table, and then I have to figure out how to adjust my mindset to like, now what do I care about these remaining 14 holes? Am I trying to salvage a round, or do I just turn into like fun Marc and just be like, I don't care, or like we're trying to figure out, thread some needle there. These are the things that go on in my head.
Mid shot while you're looking at the ball.
Right.
I mean, that's a good point, because we do talk about it often, where we say, are we out here to get our best score ever, or are we out here to get better at golf?
Right. And why do those have to be mutually exclusive?
Well, again, we'll talk about mine later, but sometimes when it comes to, do I want to chip a ball or do I want to just putt it well off the green? Because if I'm trying to go for a better score, then you putt it from off the green. But if you actually want
you putt it. You putt it from off the green.
This is not about me, Mark. We're talking about you now.
No, yeah. If I'm looking for a better score, I'm chipping every time.
Okay. Well, that's probably the right way to go.
That's a you problem.
But I guess that's a tough mindset to have, where you say, okay, I know that I'm not going to do very well today. I know I'm going to shoot mid to high 90s. Let me try things that I don't want to do, but I know I should do.
Yeah, it's a building round all of a sudden.
Yes, and I could tell myself that in my head at one point. But can you actually, can you, Mark, can you do something like that? And then when you finish up all 18, you're sitting there, eating food afterward, and you go, okay, my round didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I did learn something here.
Yeah, I think learning's an interesting word. When a round of golf, you're only hitting so many full swing shots, right? There's so many chips and putts that, depending on what it is you're trying to learn from. So first off, yes, I can. Whether it's early to mid round, I can flip a switch. Normally, if it's the round has started off poorly, I can say, look, the score is out the window. If I play my best back nine ever, I'm still going to shoot mid to low 90s, which means nothing to me. I don't even follow my handicap. Like, I don't even have one. So it's a number I don't enter at the end of a round anyways. I don't track this stuff. Again, I'm not playing enough golf to care to. I'll get to the point where I do care about it because I'll have some consistency in my golf. But if I go 3-4 month gaps without playing, like I'm doing, all I'm doing is making myself frustrated by tracking a number that I'm not honing and crafting at all. But I will walk away from a round saying, hey, that back nine, I did a couple things. I said, you know what? I need to learn to hit this low running pitch as opposed to, I kind of like to flop the ball and bring out a lob wedge. I've been trying to do a little bit more pitching wedge, 9-iron, kind of low runner chips, and say, hey, I got to learn this one, and I'm going to be okay with a skull job because I already shot 48 on the front, right? Like, I think that oddly frees me up. And I think more importantly, I can be mad about a score, but as soon as I flip that switch and say, hey, you're going to shoot a bad score today. If you don't, it means you're going to do something right. But the focus now is usually it's short game oriented for me because you still got to pull driver, you still got to hit long irons, you still got to get yourself to the hole. But I think there's so many strokes immediately to be gained around the greens, and then for me, man, I just think your game gets so much better when you're hitting approach shots from the fairway, which means hitting drives in the fairway. But yeah, I can really quickly maybe take the pressure off myself and try some stuff.
Okay, what would you say is so we went negative? You don't like the driver.
Always do. Yep.
What shot are you most comfortable with? And let's say yardage. I mean, are you most comfortable with your putting, your long irons, your chipping game, bunker game, maybe?
I don't love a bunker game, but I appreciate you. That might be fear number 2 after the driver, getting out of the bunker.
Going back to something you mentioned earlier, pace of play. Like sometimes you get a triple bogey, you're taking 2-3 hacks out of a bunker, and that's a 15-second window, right? It's still not. Yeah,
3 shots that's not a lot of shots in a short amount of time, or a lot of shots in a short amount of time. Across my game, I'm probably below average at everything, but rating my own skill set, the best thing in my bag is probably 100 to 150. That yardage I really like. Get a little squirrely inside 100 when I have to start deciding between wedges and doing some choke downs. Because I don't know my spin and that kind of. I can stop a ball. If a ball rips back, it was an accident. I don't know what I'm doing and something like that. So again, playing a lot of par 3 courses. It's always a bit of a mystery what's going to happen there. Since I got the new clubs, I do have some weird gapping on the wedge side that I'm still working through that we talked about last time. So I would say the 100 to 150 yards, I feel really good. I love a 9-iron. I love that club. So I feel really confident there. And then I would say, for the most part, lag putting. I'm far better lag putter than I am like 6 foot putter. I think I wish sometimes it was the other way around, but I'd have way longer putts if I wasn't a good lag putter. So it kind of goes both ways.
What would you say? When do you shoot better? Would you say the front nine or the back nine on average, if you had to take a guess?
Yeah. Man, I bet a scorecard would tell you a different story, but in my head, I think I play better on the back.
Just
I don't
warmed up.
lose. Yeah, I don't lose gas very often, so I'm not like, man, by 16, 17, like just get me off the course. Unless it's one of those rounds where I played so bad on the front that I don't care on the back.
Also, are you drinking on the course?
Never enough for it to impact my game. Like you guys went on a trip that I wasn't able to go to here, like what, a month or two ago, and like had I gone on that trip based on what I saw was consumed, I would have been impacted, especially across 3 days and 3 rounds of golf. But normally, like I might have 3 Michelob Ultras or something. Like that would be a big, heavy drinking day if I did. So I don't think that's impacting it too much.
All right. Yeah, I'm always hesitant to jump in because you and I both play golf so infrequently that I don't really that when I'm out there I kind of want to make the most of it
Jump into
and
what?
to drinking.
Oh, I think it's part of it. Some people are like, man, I love getting on the golf course, having a couple beers, being with my buddies. Awesome, do that. If there's people who are like, hey, I kind of like to play a really strict round of golf and not be inhibited, awesome, do that. Like I said at the outset, my favorite thing is just playing golf and being around people who want to be there. And I don't know if this is something that we would have naturally come up with. I had a temper as a kid on the golf course. I've never had a temper like outside of like even like competitive sports. I'm not a very competitive person. Never really. I kind of wish I was, to be honest. But I just don't. I don't have it in me. But I would get really upset if I would be 200 yards. I can remember being a kid and holding the 3-wood on a par 5 and like a reachable par 5. And being ready just to nuke a ball to try to have an eagle putt, and instead I hit 6 inches behind the ball and roll a sod over it, and it goes 10 feet. Like I bet I could count on 2 hands the number of times I chucked a club, but that's 2 hands too many, in my opinion. Like, what are we doing? But again, it was as a kid, and I was so embarrassed by that by the time I started playing like teenage years golf because I was around people and like you could see the looks on their faces when you did it, and all of a sudden like, what am I doing? And I don't know when the shift happened, but I think I was just so egregiously embarrassed by the looks on people. I'm like, what am I doing? And at some point, I had a really long gap from golf, kind of once college started. I probably went 4 or 5 years with barely playing a round or 2 a year. So I was just so appreciative of being back on the course. I'm like, who cares? Like, I'm probably gonna do it the next hole too. So I think there was something about expectation setting and just being maybe more mature. So I think that has helped. Just any challenges on the golf course are easier for me to handle now.
Right, you have actual challenges in your life, and you go, okay, it's all right that I made a bad golf
Yeah,
shot.
golf's the escape from them. Yeah, that's
Right,
exactly right.
Mark, how do you feel about breakfast balls and mulligans?
I think this goes back to my comment I just made about like, hey, if you're there to have beers, awesome. If you're there to have play a really strict round of golf, like I don't even need it to be consistent across the 4 guys in our group. Like you and I don't play organized money games or anything like that where that's going to matter. If that's the case, if you're playing money games, unless there's some agreed upon set of rules, no mulligans. Like play real golf, ladies and gentlemen. But if you're like, hey, the 4 of us are here, one of us shoots 110, one of us shoots 100, one of us is trying to break 80 today, like whatever it is. If you want to hold yourself accountable and say, hey, I shot 79 today, but I also took a breakfast ball, awesome. Do that. Because that means you hit 79 really good shots. Otherwise, like I don't care about people's scores. I really enjoy keeping score. I did like as a thing I do on the
Like
golf
a tangible
course.
thing, you actually like
Right. I like pulling the pencil out and doing it every hole. But like at no point do I go back, wow, Tom shot 84 today. Like the only time it matters is if you and I have like a game playing out, we need to keep track of score. But I'm okay with, I can't remember the last time I took a breakfast ball or a mulligan. I think I did that a lot as a teenager on the first tee. But if it makes golf more enjoyable for you, man, like golf is sometimes an inaccessible sport. It's like we said, it takes a lot of time. It's expensive. If that's what's going to get you on the golf course, be like, oh, you know what? I kind of flubbed that one. Can I go over? Like, as long as you're with an understanding group of people and it's not slowing you down, go. Don't do it every hole. I'll be real bad if you do that, but go for it.
Good. Yeah, I'm gonna start implementing more Mulligan's in our game. No,
Cool.
I agree with you totally on that. It's if you want to do it, I'm not going to
Yeah.
stop you. But I myself don't like to do it because I kind of want to keep my actual score.
Yeah. And
God
if I
forbid I
was
get
you, I
a
would too, because you're starting to play a ton. You're playing a lot of golf consistently now. So now all of a sudden, it's good for you to have a baseline of what your normal day is out there without those random variables and outliers like breakfast balls.
yeah. God forbid you get a hole in one on a mulligan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just ruin your that would
I think
ruin
that's
my
honestly, that's
year.
probably subconsciously part of the reason I wouldn't do it. Not necessarily for the hole in one, but because like then now all of a sudden you're getting into weird arbiter of what counts and what doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have in mind the best shot you've ever made?
Best shot. Man, I've seen a lot of good shots that others have hit.
Those are the ones
Probably
you remember?
honestly, yeah, but that's probably par for the course for my personality too. When you think about it, it's fun to be a cheerleader on the course for me. Like I really enjoy
You
when
are a
someone hits a good
fantastic
shot.
cheerleader.
I love it's so fun to see someone enjoy golf, and usually it comes in the form of like that pure shot, that feeling that's going to want you coming back. Especially people who don't play as much. Yeah, I was there. I played with my stepdad probably 6 years ago. I think it was during COVID, maybe. And long story short, it was one of the few times I found a fairway with the driver, reachable par five, but needed lumber to get there. It was probably like a 510-yard par five, like not super far, and I probably hit my drive 270 maybe. And so I've said I hit my 3-wood like 230. Pin was in the front. And I landed it on the front apron. Like it was a beautiful shot, but I had no idea my distance control where it was going to be. And it two bounced on the front apron and rolled up to about 8 feet and sunk the putt, which makes that shot irrelevant if you don't make the putt. But that it felt good, and I don't have many of those because again I'm just not hitting many shots because I only play 4 rounds of golf a year.
Yeah. Well, I would say that this is probably on the low end of rounds of golf for you, right? Since
This
you've
year, yeah, my
taken-
second daughter was born in February, so I really kind of hung them up after that. And I'm
2024,
using-
you set a goal, right? In 2024?
2024, I wanted to play 12 rounds of golf. I can't remember if it was 10 or I think it was 12. I think the goal was one a month, and we got after it early. We were ahead of pace, I think maybe through June, but we knew that November, December, I get really busy at work. So we were saying like, hey man, you're going to have to be at like 11 by the time October's done and maybe sneaking around to get there. And I think I got to November with like 8 or 9 rounds and kind of sunsetted it there.
Yeah. Are you comfortable giving yourself a goal for 2026?
I hadn't thought about it. But yes, I think you helped me set most of my goals. I've never set goals in my life until 2 years ago, and I kind of look at goals a little bit different. I just started thinking about the things that I want for myself, whether it's health-wise or professionally or whatever, and golf. I want to make sure I'm doing things that make me happy, and golf was that thing. So that's how I led myself to 12 rounds of golf. Look, anything's better than 4, I would think. I think realistically speaking, I'd like to get back to at least 8 rounds. I think that's feasible. I think my wife would want me to play 8 rounds. But you also know, like I'm trying to cook new meals every year, read books again. So I may have to kind of look at the overarching priority list and see where golf slots in.
Well, I will help you with the golf and the cooking.
All right. Yeah, you are my go-to. You are my go-to culinary inspiration.
Yeah. And we should say that we both do have very accommodating wives who are willing to let us go out and around a golf and hey, I'll watch.
Yours will play with you.
It's been a while, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's nice that you have that luxury to be able to get out there.
Yeah.
Do you have any on-course pet peeves?
So we got one kind of out of the gates early, slow play.
Slow play.
I think that kind of goes without saying.
Okay, how about I propose? How about I post?
Please do.
You have a birdie putt, and you are playing with a stranger, right? You, me, and we're paired up with 2 people.
Okay.
It is your turn to putt, and somebody putts. Does that get in your head? Does that bother you?
There's probably a little bit more context needed for that, but like on its own merits, no, I'm fine. Like probably means they're playing fast or they didn't realize it. I can't imagine someone's malicious being like, I'm going to putt before you. You know what I mean? So like, I just think when people are out, it's hard for me to get upset when I'm on the golf course, or want to like get into it with someone on the golf course. I think in theory, like, yeah, I like etiquette. It would bother me if like someone stomps right through my line.
That was
That
my
would
next
bother
question.
me. I think everyone kind of would be bummed by that. I don't care if someone leaves the pin in or out. I like when someone asks if you want it in or out. I don't care if someone steals honors on the tee. If you had the best score on the last hole, I like ready golf. So again, you can tell that there's a theme of I just like getting out there and playing golf.
One of my pet peeves is when
Yeah.
I tell somebody I'm gonna ask them a bunch of questions about their pet peeves, and then they just start asking the questions to themselves. So I had all those queued up, and you just kind of said them all. The
Oh,
last one I had was, how do you feel about people who pull the pin but never replace it? They always expect somebody else in the group to replace it. Does that even cross your mind?
yeah. That's an interesting one. I don't really. I'm trying to think of how often that actually happens because a lot of times, like, am I pulling it and laying it down? Am I pulling it and handing it
Yeah,
to someone because it's
you're
my
laying it
putt?
down.
I'm laying it down. I mean, it doesn't bother me, especially if I chipped up and I laid my clubs on top of it. So I'm going to go back to it anyways. Yeah, it bugged me. I'm not sure I've ever really noticed if there are people that never do. But yeah, I guess in theory, later that would bug me if I found out that you've never picked up a pin in the 20 years of playing golf with you.
I mean, I've always been of the mind that the first person to sink a putt or pick up their ball is now in charge of the pin
Yeah,
because everyone else
I
is
think that's
still
a good rule of thumb.
doing
Yeah.
something, right?
And I think just in general, that follows like rules of etiquette to answer your pet peeve question in general, right? It's like someone doesn't rake a bunker, that bothers me. Someone doesn't replace their divot, that bothers me. Um, but like, honestly, you want to know a pet peeve of my own, and you've actually done this more recently than me, so it annoyed you yourself when you did it. But if I do this, I get so frustrated with myself. If I leave a club on a previous hole, like it's like, oh no, like, am I gonna run back right now? Am I gonna take a cart? Am I gonna catch up? Say, guys, play ahead, and then you got to go do that weird thing. Like, you guys find a wedge on 9. I hate stuff like that that makes you look like a dum dum. You had an epic one. I can't. This was years ago now, years ago. But you had to like run back somewhere. I don't remember where we were. But yeah, I think that's
And I'm not a fast runner. Well, I'll go out and say it. I don't
you're
run
not a fast runner.
terribly. I'm not swift. I'm not agile. But then yes, and then now because I also am a stickler for pace of play, I then have to run back to your group, and then I have to somehow hit a ball, huffing and puffing, out of breath. Yeah.
I guess my other pet peeve is maybe more personality based. Is there's very two. It is one thing to take golf very seriously. It's another thing to take yourself too seriously on the golf course, and the latter bugs me. So if you're out there, I don't care whether you're shooting 75 or 105, but if you're out there with the nicest clubs on the market and you've got you're dressed to the nines with all the newest stuff and you're talking about how great your golf life is and you can't back it up with your play, and then like you start getting mad at yourself for like, oh, I should have made that when it's like a 30-footer, double breaker. Like that kind of stuff bothers me a lot. Like if someone is taking themselves way too serious, for like no one, like truly no one cares about your game except you. So like keep your stories to yourself. Like I love talking to people on the golf course, but I don't want to hear about how last week you would have made all of those. Like no one cares. People just want to know like you're having a good time. And like honestly, as a playing partner, especially if you're a random I don't know, I want you to say like good putt if you make something. I want you to kind of introduce yourself on the first tee and like let's just see how organic conversation happens, but don't try to like puff out your chest and talk to me about all the amazing golf clubs you've been to over the like I don't care. I just don't.
Yeah. No. Total agreement there. The one last thing I was going to say about pulling the pin, I will see some people who will leave the green before the entire group is done. And
Oh,
like, there's multiple reasons. Like
yeah.
one, if you just, if you tripled it and you're just frustrated and you kind of don't want to be a jerk and bring everyone else down, then you just kind of go off on your own. Like I'll allow that once or twice every round, but if it happens more than that, then you probably just have way too high of expectations,
Yeah.
and you can just hang out with the rest of the group. Now,
Yeah.
that might happen a little bit more when you're partnering up with strangers, but I mean, if you're in a group, stay with the group.
Yep.
A little bit of LPGA talk. When you watch LPGA, is there anything that you take away from their play that you feel like you could implement in your own game?
What do you mean?
Like, do you watch you watch a, let's just say Gino, and you go, I like the way that she reads the greens. She
Oh,
actually takes her time. She lines up behind it, and she will, because again, you and I aren't really much for green reading. We don't stand behind the ball, crouch, read it, go to the other side of the hole,
yeah.
look at the way it breaks from that way.
So, I mean, look, I think most of the time when I'm watching professional golf, I'm not looking to take pointers just because they're just in a different class entirely. I know you know this. Like, I've got an obsession with Gino's hip turn. So Gino, if you watch slow-mos of Gino, when she gets to the top of her backswing, the first thing you see is her fire her hips forward and turn them. And it just like, it's a split second before everyone else does. So it stands out in a slow-mo. Cam Smith or Cam Young right now on the PGA Tour is getting famous for this early hip move he's doing pre-swing of where he's early setting his hips back to like kind of get in the loading position as opposed to it happening during a swing. So I'm like always looking at stuff like that, but don't get it twisted. Like I'm not trying to do that. I just am impressed by it. Again, my knowledge of golf swings far exceeds my ability to swing a golf club, which I think hurts me a lot. But I think for the most part, I know that, so I don't try to. I mean, I do think overall I'm always impressed how smooth and slow a swing that hits the ball really far looks like. So like using Nelly as the example, I think that's a really good reminder of like she is not wailing on the ball from a speed perspective. And maybe it is, but it is smooth, and that like it's so much more about face control and making sure that you're in a good position at impact. I think that is something, again, back to the sloth, driver head, all that stupid stuff. Like I do need those constant reminders of the way the ball goes far isn't just by unloading on it. There's a lot more mechanics that go with it. But then otherwise, I would say I do watch a lot of chipping. I do watch a lot of pitching drills. I watch a lot of how soft their hands are, the way they're moving the ball, kind of the common let the club do the work, taking a lot less motion out of it. I will follow like the way they'll hold their chest over the ball and you won't see much head. That kind of stuff I'll try to replicate. But again, you mentioned this a couple episodes ago. I'm not going and practicing chipping very often, so it's whether I'm willing to do it on the first hole when I'm still, blowing on my hands because I'm cold.
So you say that you don't watch LPGA to get better at your own game?
Not at all.
What would you say that you do to help improve your game? Because you're not doing lessons.
Nothing.
I mean,
I don't do
something
anything.
as simple as you watch Instagram shorts and you can kind of learn something that way.
No, I don't. I don't look at. I'm not a swing videos guy. I'm not. Oh man, I'm trying to fix it because I don't know my swing well enough to be able to watch someone else do something and say, oh, I could fix mine to do that. I don't know if I'm already doing that thing. I'm not filming myself, so I don't watch my video. So I think. So I don't spend time watching swing videos. I'll spend time watching pro golf just because I want to hear commentators talk about what they're doing. But I think the answer to your question is I don't do anything to improve my game. But again, when I'm only playing 4 times a year, it's probably not the right type of investment I care to make right now when I can. Again, my wife and I both work full time. So like I've only got a couple hours a day with my girls. Like, I'm not going to watch swing videos then. And like I said, the hobby I have right now is making agendas for an LPGA podcast.
Right. Well, this is the time to do it in the off season. This is when you get
That's right.
when you get your prime golfing. Couple more questions. If you and I were to play a round of golf once a month in 2026, at what point would you expect to beat me? Now, I'm not trying to puff my own chest. I play more than you, right?
So
But
are you? So let's play out. Let me ask a couple qualifying questions. Conceivably, those are the 12 rounds I'm playing total hard stop. I'm not playing more
All
than
with
that.
me.
How many more are you playing?
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? I would say I probably average about 12 to 15 rounds a year.
Okay, so you're not playing that many more rounds than me.
Yeah, no.
If I play that 12, okay. Well, I mean, let's spoil a little bit of your player profile episode. You go out to shoot today. What's your range, your expectation of what you shoot within a full? To
Let's
what?
say
Give me a
85,
range.
85 to 89.
Okay, so if it's a 90, that's a bad day for Tom on the golf course.
Yes. I'm up.
So conceivably, you're starting with probably a 3 to 4 shot difference between us from a strokes gain perspective when just starting out. Because like I had you for a really long time, and then I don't remember when you passed me, but it happened like fast and permanently. It wasn't like, oh, we're kind of waffling for a bit. It's like you're playing a lot of golf, because I played a lot of I played a lot of golf at a younger age than you did, and then you have really played a ton more since. I don't know that I would. I'd say 6 rounds. I mean, look, if we're only 3 shots apart, we're going to be competitive every round. I refuse to have you give me strokes, right? Like on any given day, you could blow up on a hole and all of a sudden we're even. So I think we're close enough there that it's always competitive with no strokes. I think within 6 rounds, if I haven't beat you, you're either playing out of your melon good golf or I'm playing horrific and something bad. And like, I need to go to the lab. So within 6 rounds, I would expect to beat you once.
I mean, even the last time you and I played back in August, I remember it being fairly competitive between the two of us. I mean, we probably shot around where we're saying that we did right now.
Yeah.
And I don't ever recall going like, oh, Mark's blowing up.
Yeah.
Especially for, how recently you had played before that, which was probably months and months before. So, I mean, anytime we do play, I do have you're probably the person I play with that is the closest to my ability.
Sure.
And
which is awesome.
You play with.
It's so fun to have someone a similar skill level. Like, I mean, it really is fun.
Yeah, because the only other golfers that I know are usually way better than me, or some that don't play nearly enough to try to get much better. They just go out there for social hours.
It's funny you say that. I'm thinking about this. This is kind of this is half baked. I've not thought this through. I think I'm at that point in my life where I'm relying on a bit of like golf muscle memory and whatever remnants I have of athleticism in my body, because obviously I'm not doing physical exercise period right now, which I'm not proud to say. It's just true. Almost 41 years old, and I'm not playing golf or anything else for that matter. But I think that might go away soon. So like, whereas for the last 5 years, I could say, hey, I could not play for 4 months and probably I could flirt with breaking 90. I don't know how much longer that lasts, because like every middle-aged man I have noticed, like, oh man, like the body doesn't move the same. The swing doesn't feel the same. Like that muscle memory and general athleticism that in your 20s and 30s you could probably get away with. I could see that going away. So like if I played another 4 rounds next year, I could see us sitting here in December of 2026 saying, Marc shoots 93, 94 now.
I mean, that goes with everything, right? The older you get, you're just going to be a little bit more rigid. And so you better get those golf muscles moving.
But man, if I ever learn to hit a driver, you're toast. And I mean that. Like that's as cocky as I'm ever going to sound on this podcast. I can sound a lot more cocky off air. But man, if I could could you imagine if I could hit 10 fairways around?
I mean, my favorite part of golf is when, so you usually start pretty even keeled, and then you're either going to tilt one way or the other. It's either cheerleader Mark, or it's super cocky Mark, and it's shtick, right? It's all a bit that you do, and it's very fun to watch, because I'll hit a bad shot and you'll say, hey, that was really good. It's okay. You'll get up next time. And I go, oh, stop it. That wasn't good. And you're like, all right, you know what?
Fine.
Screw you.
You want the other guy? Here he is. Yeah. Here comes Jekyll meet Hyde. Here we go. Yeah, I do. I am quite polarizing on the course. What else you got?
Enjoyable. Last question for you, Marc. This is my favorite golf question to ask anybody.
Ooh.
If you needed to get a birdie, would you prefer a par 3, a par 4, or a par 5? So you and I are playing around. We are.
Are we giving yardages here?
Say it again.
You gonna give me any type of yardages here?
No. So if we're playing, and we're tied after 17, and you need to beat me.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the 18th hole is. You just know it's either par 3, par 4, or par 5.
So it could be, if it's a par 3, it could be 210. It could be 140.
Yeah. Par 5 could be 450 or 600. I don't know.
I mean, so the question is just like, where am I going to birdie? It has nothing to do with what you're going to do on that hole. It's just about my game.
Just you.
I mean, it has to be par 5 statistically. A par 3, there's too much variance of what that yardage could be. Again, I've got a sweet spot of 100 to 150. But again, if you've got a 210-yard hole, I don't have that club in my bag. I'm already scrambling for par. You've taken birdie out of my hands. The number of 2s I've had on a scorecard in the last 10 years, probably count on 2 hands or less, right? And if you're not, if that par four is anything under or over 400 yards, like I'm not confident, and that's a really short par four. So par fives, my third shot is gonna be a general approach shot within 100 yards. Like, give me that all day. Because even if I blow a drive way right, I can, as long as I have an angle to get back into a fairway, I'm still going to have a mid to low iron in. So give me a par five all day.
Would you say that's probably the most frequent birdie you have, be a par five?
Yeah. Yeah. Just because we don't play really big courses, so rarely are we seeing a 600-yard par five where it's not taking me 200-yard shots to get there. I just, statistically speaking, I can't imagine there being a scenario where I'd say something different.
One last question for you. You've played a lot of nice courses, like you've been to Pebble.
Yeah.
Do you have like a bucket list of golf courses that you want to try out?
Yeah, it's long. I haven't played that many great courses. You just named the one great course I have. So I did for my years ago, big birthday for my dad's 60th. I think this is probably 15, 20 years ago. We went to Pebble and we played Pebble and Spyglass back-to-back days. That was very, very special. And I caught it on a windy day, so I got the full experience. But like the generic names that come to mind, like bucket list would have to be St. Andrews for me. Like, there's nothing in a close second place to that. Like, it's the home of golf. There's so many different ways to play that course. Technology's passed it by in certain ways, but you can still just get blown out to sea by that course. There's like, I'd find every bunker on that course for sure. I think I'd just be in awe of that. I've been to Augusta for the Masters. I've not played it. I don't even think that cracks my top five of like what I'd like to go play, just because having been there for the Masters checks a pretty significant box. So I think I'd want to go see new places. I'd love to play Pinehurst. But I think the other thing is I'm very, very blind to how good the courses are outside the United States. So I mentioned St. Andrews. I mean, I could spend the rest of my life playing golf in Scotland and never and play a new course all the time. So I think St. Andrews is far and away the top. Pinehurst, and then you just start looking at the major venues that you've seen in recent years that I certainly wouldn't mind playing.
Yeah, I wish there were more in Southern California that we could actually go venture out.
I'd like to play Riviera. I would definitely like to play Riv. I played Torrey, but yeah, Riv would beat us up, man. I can tell you for a fact that course is no joke. So when we go watch the women play for the U.S. Open, just be ready for them to get their butts kicked. Like, it's by design.
Do we get any kind of like member passes where we could do it like the day after or anything like that?
That'd be fun.
Yeah, media credentials are going to finally...
Media credentials, yeah. Hey, LPGA, let Fringe Coverage go out and shoot some content. Well, do you feel like you learned anything? Did you learn anything about me today? I'm curious. Like, you knew most of this.
I knew most of it, but it's nice to hear that I'm not the only one going through these issues.
I think for me, like, the reason I liked this idea when you suggested it was like... everyone's a little bit different. I really appreciate knowing like that the mindset, like I'm a head case on the golf course. We just talked about it. Of sometimes it'll be the emotions of being the cocky guy, or sometimes it'll be the cheerleader guy. Other times it's just the swing thought of like, what am I trying to do again? Getting down on myself, reminding myself not to get down on myself, or reminding myself why I'm out here. Like, you could go hole to hole and it's a different person that, and I think everyone has their own version of that. Maybe not similar, but just like the version of what their headspace is across 18 holes. I bet there's people just black out for 18 holes. And I don't mean drinking, just like, I'm not at work, I'm not with my kids, I'm not wherever my stresses in my life are, I'm just happy I'm here. I try to gravitate towards that as much as possible. Don't always achieve it. But like, I really look forward, honestly, I look forward to like the hot dog afterwards. I look forward to the breakfast burrito afterwards. I look forward to like the parking lot putting on the shoes when I see, like, I like that stuff a lot. Every sport I've played has always been a social, communal thing for me. Very rarely do I do so. Golf, while it's an individual sport, I'm not playing by myself. We've talked about that a ton. So it's just those little things of loading up the golf court, pulling out a golf ball, finding golf balls, and asking our buddy Brian if he wants it because he loses balls all the time. Our buddy Joel has the most ridiculous, you talk about unpredictable what's going to come off the face of that driver. He's a lefty and he could wicked duck hook something, or he could crush a drive truly 50 yards past all of us. Like we've seen it. Like that dude, when he gets a hold of one, absolutely nukes the ball. I like that unpredictability, like literally standing and like, depending on what it is, like you and I get to exchange a look of like, whoa, that was the good one, or oh God, don't say anything because that's the bad one. And you never really know, like
The
all of
Adam
us have
Dunn effect, as I call it.
the Adam Dunn effect. And like all of us have something that sets us off too, right? Whether it's slow play for me or like whatever it is. So like, you know, you have your playing partners, like the things you do and don't say to them. And the four of us, our buddies we're talking about, we know each other so well that like there's the things you know not to say. There's also the exact things you're going to say because we live to push each other's buttons. And I am the worst at not letting it get to me. And you three know that. So you guys can just be like, hey, let's just go in on this bit because we know Sawyer is about to just like get super upset about it. Like all I have to do is say like, you guys, we're playing slow, and one of you say like, we're absolutely not, and I'll full on fight you for the next hole that you're wrong and that we are in fact playing slow because I don't know, maybe you doubled, you tripled, and you also look for a ball for 5 minutes.
Anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, man, I think I feel that was pretty cathartic. I'm feeling good. Honestly, I want to go play some golf. I've got a crazy month ahead, but man, January, I'm going to have some downtime. I need to hold you to your word and get me out on the golf course and see if
Marc
I
is
can
Santa Claus, we should say.
Yeah, Santa Claus. That's why I'm busy. But yeah, I do need you to hold me to trying to. I would love nothing more than for us to have played 6 rounds by mid-year and us have this repeat conversation of, are you closing the gap on Tom's game at all?
Are you going to the range at all this month?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
Right.
I got to get through the month. But after that, I'll be beating up balls left and right.
All right. If you have suggestions for players or topics to discuss on this podcast, you can send us an email at fringecoverage@gmail.com. Joel, you could just text us about the Adam Dunn comment. I'm sorry. Follow us on Instagram at Fringe Coverage Pod. And whether you're approaching from the fairway or the rough, we got you covered inside the fringe.